Good evening, everyone. It is now 6 o'clock, and I'd like to welcome everyone to this planning meeting tonight at Melton Borough Council. I'm Councillor Pam Posnett, Chair of Planning. In the event of having to evacuate the council chamber, please leave by one of the 6 emergency exits around the sides of the chamber. Please assemble at the far side of the front car park, nearest to the park entrance. Officers will be on hand to assist anyone who needs any assistance. Please put your phone to silent during this meeting. We will be using the audio-visual system this evening, and the meeting will also be streamed live on YouTube. If members wish to speak, please raise your hand and speak directly into the microphone in front of you. Remember to turn it off once you have finished. Members voting will be by raised hands. I would like to introduce those present to the members this evening. At the top of the table is Councillor Webster, Councillor Brown, Councillor Chandler, Councillor Holmes, Councillor Freer, who is substituting for Councillor Fisher, Councillor Illingworth, Councillor Pritchett, Councillor Smith and Councillor Wood. We have a team of officers present who are to my right, our legal advisor, Sarah Dibble. To my left, our interim Assistant Director of Planning, Paul Fahili, our Planning Development Manager, Louise Parker, planning officers, Gareth Elliott, Sarah Hewlett and Helen White. The Democratic Services Manager, Natasha Taylor, is also present with Helen Ainge and Sarah Evans from the Democratic team. The only apology for absence that I've received is Councillor Fisher, and as I've already said, Councillor Freer is in attendance as his substitute. We wish to confirm the minutes of the meeting held on the 23rd of June. Are there any issues from those minutes that any of you have collected? No, so can I have a proposer for those minutes, please, to be accepted? Councillor Chandler, seconder. Councillor Webster. Thank you very much indeed. Any declarations of interest? No, that's fine. So the schedule of applications is St Mary's. The first one is St Mary's Hospital, Melton Mowbray, 21000939. Approval of details of the layout, scale, external appearance of the buildings and landscaping of the site pursuant to condition 3 of outline planning permission, which was 19/00909 OUT. There is just the agent who is due to speak on this matter. So if Mark Abel, who's the agent, would like to take a seat. Sorry?
The next application.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. It's
yes. The application for Councillor Houston, I do live next door, but I've not had anything to do with it. So I hope that's okay.
I'm sorry, I'm going to jump at myself. We don't have any speakers apart from the family officer. Sorry. We don't have any speakers for this one apart from the planning officer. I'll meet myself coming back tonight, I think. So over to Gareth Elliott, our planning officer, who's going to speak on St Mary's application. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This is the reserve matters application. This is the layout plan that we can see in front of us. The application is for 37 residential units, all 2 to 3 bed, terrace and semi-detached dwellings. Members should be able to make out the blue area, this blue edged area. This has full planning permission for the conversion of the workhouse and wings. And we're concerned with the area edged in red, which is the reserve matters application for the residential development. Members will probably recall this application came to the March committee and it was deferred by members for the reason that further information on the vagrant cell feature of the site was requested to come back. The scheme is identical to the one that came back, was presented in March. And so I'll just quickly take you through that, and then I'll take you through the additional element. So if we get the next slide, please. This is the street scene plan along Thorpe Road. The top plan is the northern section of Thorpe Road, and the bottom plan is the southern section. You'll note that the dwellings have been orientated to face onto Thorpe Road and have an active frontage, which is one of the parameters. I'll just take you through some of the examples of the house types as well. So if we can have the next slide, please. This is a typical 2-bedroom unit, facing brickwork and tiles with a porch canopy feature. And then the next slide, please. This is the 3-bedroom, one of the 3-bedroom examples. Again, facing brickwork and tiles with a porch feature. Then if we move on to the next slide, this is where the work's been done. If I can refer you to the plan on the left, the area in yellow is the public open space. And then the plan on the right-hand side is a zoomed-in version of that area. You'll note there's 3 squares there. The central square is the layout and position of the vagrant cell feature. Officers have worked with members and the agent on discussing this, and this has been the location, chosen position for the vagrant cell feature. The 2 main reasons for this are that the public open space is designed to be used and for people to walk around this, which gives a natural surveillance of the feature. It's also considered to be in a position that doesn't detract from the views from Thorpe Road through onto the workhouse, which is also an important parameter. The residential scheme as a whole hasn't changed from the March, the scheme that came before you at March. It follows very closely the indicative plan on the outline, apart from small changes to meet the parameters set within condition 29, which included frontages to front onto Thorpe Road, 2 car parking spaces per unit, and there be no built form that would detract from the views to the workhouse. There's been no technical objections to the scheme. Officers are happy that the residential scheme is in keeping with the character and appearance of the area, and overall happy with the scheme, and therefore the officer recommendation is for approval. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Gareth. Any questions for Gareth, anybody? Councillor Holmes?
Thank you. Right. It said, I don't understand about, are we moving the vagrant cells then?
Excuse me, Councillor Holmes, the vagrant cells are not for discussion tonight.
No,
That is at the next meeting.
it's the next meeting. Oh, we're not putting this
No,
in.
the next meeting we have, we'll discuss the vagrant cells. So have you got anything else you want to ask?
I'm a bit mystified, but never
Okay.
mind.
Thank you. Any other questions for Gareth? No? Right, if you want to open the debate then please, about St Mary's Hospital. Councillor Brown?
Yeah, thanks, Gareth, for bringing this back. Yeah, it's a very comprehensive report. It's very well written. It's much clearer than the reports that we've had. I think they are getting better generally, meeting by meeting. So I think that I have absolutely no problem with this application whatsoever. It is what's laid out. It's what we've discussed time and time again. And I'm actually going to propose that I'm going to recommend that we accept this recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. So we've had a proposal to permit this. I see that Councillor Illingworth is seconding this proposal. So we've had it proposed, we've had it seconded. No more discussion. Can I have a show of hands, please, for all in favour? Okay. Any against? Any abstentions? Right, 1 abstention and 10 in favour. Thank you very much, committee. We now move on and I'll introduce Mark Abel again. I thought I was introducing my cousin because I've got a cousin of the same name. I had to look twice. Thought he'd changed his job. Right, St Mary's Crossroads Farm, Eastville. Provision of 3 new dwellings, a replacement farmyard, 3 barns, a joiner's workshop, a farm shop and cafe, and a building for use as a railway museum with associated parking and landscaping, hard and soft. So we've got one speaker tonight, that's the agent, Mark Abel. So if you'd like to come to the table in the centre, please, Mark. Right, Helen, you're speaking first, I understand. If you could just stay there, Mr. Abel.
Thank you, Chair. So this application is a site at Crossroad Farm, Sculford Road in Eastwell. The application is presented before you tonight because the applicant is Councillor Hewson. The proposal seeks full planning permission for 3 new dwellings, 3 new agricultural buildings, a joiner's workshop, a farm shop and cafe, and a small scale railway museum, which would house a narrow gauge engine that's been recently restored by the local history group. If we can move to the next slide, please. So this is the site as existing. And if we can move to the next slide, please. So this is the application site as proposed. So there'd be 2 residential dwellings, plot 1 and 2, which are towards the left-hand side, adjacent to the range of traditional agricultural buildings already within the site, including the Grade 2 listed farmhouse and barn. The proposal as a comprehensive redevelopment of the site is considered to enhance the setting of these listed buildings. The next building across, which is located centrally in the site, would be the joiner's workshop. And then to the front of the site would be the cafe and farm shop. And then to the right-hand side of the site would be the proposed new farmhouse and adjoining agricultural building, the new farmyard, and 2 further agricultural buildings. Amendments have been made to the scheme to address concerns raised by environmental health with regards to the impact of the joinery workshop on the adjacent residential properties. The amendments include the addition of an acoustic fence and methods of construction that would mitigate noise transference. In addition, the applicant has agreed to the inclusion of a condition to restrict the occupation of the building within the residential property within plot 3, which forms the new farmhouse adjacent to the farmyard and agricultural buildings, which would ensure that the occupants of the property related to the farming operations to protect their amenity. So it's not the same as an agricultural tie, it is purely to protect the amenity of the occupiers of that dwelling. 2 objections have been received with regards to the impact of the proposal on highway safety. Additional work was carried out, including trip generation and further details of visibility displays for the 2 site accesses. If we could go back to the first slide, please, just to point out where the site accesses would be. So the new residential properties within plots 1 and 2 would share the access with Waltham Road, with the existing listed farmhouse and barn, which has got planning permission for residential use. And then the commercial, agricultural and industrial uses and the dwelling within plot 3 would be served off an improved site access off Sculford Road, and the other 2 access points that currently exist to the site from Sculford Road would be blocked up, and that would also be secured by a planning condition. the proposed site access is considered acceptable in highway safety terms, and there's considered to be adequate parking proposed within the application site. For this reason, the application is therefore recommended for approval.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Helen? Anybody? No? Okay, thank you. Right, welcome, Mr. Abel. The microphone in front of you, if you push the button with the face on it, that's it, that's switched it on. You have 3 minutes to talk. I will give you a warning at 30 seconds that you're coming towards the end of your 3 minutes. Thank you.
So thank you for your time this evening. And out of respect and courtesy as the agent, I wanted to give a general overview of our application. The officer's report and recommendation delivers a much more comprehensive evaluation and certainly details more than I would be able to in these 3 minutes. Therefore, I would simply like to summarise and emphasise that this has been a considered application put forward as a viable scheme that looks to provide a vastly better arrangement of residential units and commercial activities than that of the pre-existing planning approvals for the site. The number of residential units has not been increased, and the only difference is that our proposal looks to create a local farm shop, cafe, railway museum and joinery workshop, all of which look to provide good local community benefits. In summary, this has been a very thorough process and discussion and additional information provided over many months, to which the outcome is positive support from the local authority for our application. I speak for myself and all parties interested to say that we're proud and excited for this proposal, and that it will mean and what it will mean for this site and the local area. And we hope members agree and look forward to seeing this sympathetic proposal take shape. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Can you just remain there, please? Any questions for Mr. Abel? No? Fine. Well, thank you very much indeed. Right. We've got no other speakers, so over to debate. Illingworth?
You can always rely on me, can't you, Chair? Yeah. In much the same way that Ronan spoke about the St. Mary's, I can see the merits of this scheme, and I can't see anything wrong with it. It's going to improve the visual appearance. It's going to create one or two business opportunities and maybe some, even if only part-time jobs, you know, at a cafe or whatever. So, and given that it's got a consent in a slightly different form anyway, and is broadly covered by Class Q, and is only before us because the applicant is a fellow councillor, I'm sure it would have been done on delegated if it weren't. So I'm happy to propose it.
Thank you, Councillor Illingworth. It's been proposed. Have we got a seconder? Councillor Holmes, thank you very much.
Is that okay that I second it?
I'll just ask our legal advice. Yeah, that's fine. You can't help being a neighbour.
Thank you. No, I can't. No, I can't, can I? No,
No.
it's a bit of a trial.
Okay.
But I would just like to say that it is nice to think that very old house and buildings, which are, as you know, I go mad about ironstone. I know they're going to be sympathetically looked at and built in a really splendid fashion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Holmes. Councillor Chandler.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I endorse what Councillor Holmes has said. Traditional farm buildings have got no place on active farms today. You can't even get a bobcat in the old buildings. A lot of people don't like to see the new structures that are going up, but it's economics, because nobody these days is allowed to use a shovel and a fork like they used to. And as I say, you can't get a bobcat in most of the old buildings, and it's preserving them. And as Councillor Holmes said, it's using the stone and everything again, which to me is a great move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chandler. Councillor Pritchett.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to compliment the officers again on the quality of the report. it's sometimes what's not in the report that's important. And this report, as I went through it, it answered every one of my questions from the portal documents. So I thought it was an excellent report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Pritchett. I'm sure Helen will be very pleased to hear that. Right, it's been proposed, it's been seconded. Can I have a show of hands? Unanimous, the proposal is passed. We are now on to Wagoners Lodge, 16 Main Street, Harby, 22000419, full, and the officer doing that is Sarah.
Thank you, Chair. This application is for proposed works at 16 Main Street in Harby. The application is being brought forward to committee because it's been submitted by a member of staff. Planning permission is sought for two-storey extensions, the partial raising of the roof, and an external staircase to the existing detached garage. A previously approved application was granted in 2003 and partially implemented. That was for the erection of a two-storey extension to the south elevation, very similar in size and shape to what's proposed in this application. Please, could we go on to the next slide? So the south extension, the proposed south extension would house a carport to the ground floor with a bathroom above, and the extension to the east of the site would house a garden room to the ground floor and another bathroom above. Due to the separation distances between this property and the neighbouring properties, it is felt that the two-storey extensions would not cause any loss of light or loss of privacy to any neighbouring properties. Please, could we go on to the next slide? Consideration has been given to the potential impact of the raising of the roof to any potential bats that could be there. As you can see from the photos, the roof space has already been converted and there is no real space for bats to be there. So we have recommended that in this case, a bat survey would not be required. Please, could we go on to the next slide? Consideration has also been given to the windows, which are located in the west elevation of the property. They look out onto the Valley Christian Centre that is to the west of the site. There are existing windows and roof lights within that elevation that do already provide an outlook to that site. The Valley Christian Centre is used quite sporadically and isn't a residential dwelling. As you can see from the windows, they are quite high level and it would be quite difficult for anybody to look out or look into them from the site. Therefore, we don't feel that the additional windows in that elevation or the dormer windows would have any further impact than the windows already on the site. Please, could we go to the next slide? Thank you. The last part of the proposal is an external staircase to the existing garage, which is to the east of the site. Due to the fact that the garage is set back from the boundary with the neighbouring property, it isn't felt that there would be any loss of privacy, any overlooking from that proposed staircase. Consideration has been given to the use of the garage as remaining as a double garage and for storage above. So a condition has been proposed that that will remain the case, so that the parking will remain and so that the accommodation, so that the building above does not become any sort of residential accommodation. As such, we recommend the application for approval. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Sarah. Any questions for Sarah? Councillor Pritchett.
Where do we stand, you may have said it and I missed it, where do we stand with the request from the parish council the garage can't be converted to a separate dwelling?
Yeah, no problem. So we have proposed the inclusion of a condition to limit the use of the garage.
Any other questions for Sarah? No. Well, we don't have any speakers. Councillor Holmes?
Madam Chairman, I don't know why I'm doing this tonight. I've been twice to this site because I think I didn't look at it right the first time, looked at it the second time, and I'm quite happy to propose this application. Thank you.
Right, it's been proposed. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Brown?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Thank you very much. Any other discussion at all? No? So can I have a show of hands, all in favour of the proposal? That's a unanimous decision. Thank you very much indeed. There is no urgent business. I don't think anybody else has got any other business. This may be a record we've set for a planning meeting, but thank you for your time and your skill in making these decisions. Thank you.